few more minutes and then we'll get to the show. Ready? Alrighty. Well, welcome back. Show number 10 in Northwest Arkansas BMX Podcast. Excited to be out here tonight, Sunday night, end of the week. I just got back from Sand Springs BMX. Awesome stuff going on over there. Always having fun over there. Great people, great track operators. You can't get it any better than that. So we'll start with thinking of all our supporters over the last, since July. Beer Budget, the Beer Budget podcast with Rick Carter. Always a fun little podcast. Oklahoma S Squared. Awesome local team supporting our podcast. Northwest Arkansas BMX. We don't have a track just yet, but that's coming next year. The Runway Bike Park, awesome bike park attached with the gym center for families. Nice little pump track. Home to the 2018 Red Bull Pump Track World Championship Finals. Ooh, we already have our first listener. What's up, Kimber? So, I guess starting this podcast out pretty strong with Grands. Grands is just around the corner. We got 11 more days until Grands. This is crunch time for so many BMX racers all over the country, all over the world, coming to race this pretty cool race. What's up, Daniel? Yeah, Kimber, it was nice seeing you today, man. That was awesome. Daniel, are you racing Grands? Because you probably heard of her. But anyways, yeah, so this week, the Grands layout for the track was revealed Friday morning. Track is a replica of the 2007 Grand Nationals. So here's my question, Daniel. What's the shocker? I know I've heard so many people say, oh yeah, it's the shocker. What is it? But yeah, it's a replica of the 2007 Grands. And of course, you have the Big U and Salvo U. Second straight has an amateur set, pro set. For those that raced back in the day, Miami BMX under Dale and Cindy Riley track up there. Oh, I see. I get it now. That was a good one. But yeah, man, Grand's just around the corner. Can't wait. Of course, I did sneak over to Tulsa today. Took a sneak peek of the track. And starting hill is pretty huge. I know a lot of people, a lot of USA BMX workers and announcers saying, well, the starting hill is small. That's no small starting hill, though. Man, yeah, because the dirt's even, it looks like it's top of the railing of the bottom level of the bleachers. So, man, big starting hill, of course. It looks like step up, step down, just like Sand Springs. Looks like Sand Springs first straight, so it looks very identical. On another news, like one of the big announcements the start of this week, if you guys don't know, the women pro Lexus Colby, supercross rider, awesome rider. I've seen her on the track a few times at Grands over the last few years, and apparently during the last little bit of training for Grands, she had a little wreck and broke her arm, so she's pretty much out of the title run for this year, unfortunately. Thought she was going to do it this year, but you know, things happens in practice and everything else. Also, over the weekend, Tulsa opened up the Rock Yard. The Rock Yard looks actually pretty incredible, and you know, all the videos I've seen throughout the last 2 days, man, it puts the rail yard to shame. All those big jumps and everything to it, man. Can't wait to get over there. That one's going to be a fun one. And like I said, I went over to Sand Springs BMX today. Saw, of course, side hack race coming up here in about 9 days. I might as well just go ahead and get some practicing, some training in with my monkey Chad Brock. Of course, I've seen the Torca guys, Dave Ramey and Nate Lowy, out there. And of course, a lot of people were asking if we were even racing because a third side hack appeared. Of course, that was the Sand Springs side hack. You know, we could have ran a race if we really wanted to, but all we were doing was just get some practice in for Grands. That's going to be the, of course, I'll be talking about it a little bit later, the side hack, the Intergalactical Side Hack Championship. Also, while I was there, I seen some old faces. Seen a couple people I haven't seen in 2-3 years, so it was pretty awesome to see them out there. But yeah, great track operators at Sand Springs, great group of people. Couldn't have it any other way there. Look at my show notes. Okay, so today, while I was at Sand Springs, something really cool happened. You know, I've always thought history is made every day. No matter if you make a change in somebody's life, but man, today was really cool. I didn't even know nothing about it until I seen it happen. I've heard a little talk about it before mains, but I never really knew what was going on. But a huge shout out to JJ Baker, or also known as Pistol Pete, out there at Sand Springs BMX. He has joined the 20,000 points club, which is huge because the last time that a Oklahoma rider achieved the 20,000 points club was back in 1984. So, man, what an incredible historical moment. And yeah, that's awesome. Just like a huge shout out to you, JJ Baker. PJ, if you're watching, dude, your kid rocks. That was just awesome. All the confetti and stuff at the finish line. No one really cared about the other 2 races that was after JJ's race, which is pretty cool. So we were getting down to, like I said, grands. We had the pro titles on the line. The reason why it took me a little bit longer to get on here was I was going through the list of the top 5 pros in each category. And man, there's a lot of pros that's just mixed up. Some of the pros I usually see on the list, I don't see them on the top 5 list, which that's odd, but oh well. So, like, starting off in the ABA Futures Men's, this is the new category for this year. The ABA Futures Men's and Women's class, which is pretty much your A Pro class. So, before, I've never seen a Pro women's class, so this is pretty unique. And I like the idea because, like, the next thing that they need to add is Vet Pro women's class. I think that would be really cool. Well, start up with the Futures Men's. Of course, at number 5, Gage Gomalicki. I've heard his name a few times, so that's a familiar rider. Familiar name I'm kind of familiar with throughout Grand's year. And then you got Deegan Brown, Matthew. Some of these names I can't really pronounce, but I'm gonna try my best. Matthew Wheats, number 2, Ryder Santos, and then of course your Huffy representative E-Pop, Ethan Popovich, is in the lead for the ABA Futures Men's. So could he get the title? I'm putting my bets on E-Pop this year. He's been doing fantastic on the circuit, and I can't wait to see if he wins it all in the very first year the ABA Futures Men's is in. And then we move on to the Futures Women's class, of course, with number 5, Presley Gald, number 4, Taya Boker, number 3, Sadie Herrera, number 2, Darren Merton, and standing out the top of the Futures Women's first year around, Addison Thompson. So could Addison, of course, these are all names I've never heard of. So it could go either way with points being very close. I can't wait to see who wins that class. So keep an eye on the ABA Futures Women's and Men's class because they're going to be battling it out for the first year's title. Then jump over to Vet Pro. Of course, you have Jeff, in number 5, Emilio Fala, the captain in number 4. I actually got to see him today at Sand Springs, do some training. It's pretty cool to contact with him for a little bit. And then, of course, in your podium spots, you got number 3, Alan Hudson, another rider from Sand Springs. Number 2, Corey Reed. And this one is, I would probably have to pick for my favorite, other than Nick Long, Jeff Upshaw. So it's going to be interesting to see who takes home the Vet Pro title this year. There's a lot of favorites in this one. Unfortunately, Barry Nobles is not in the top 5, but he's been on the road recovering from what I hear, running some other stuff. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. That would be interesting. Like, I mean, I wish they could keep track of the winning bike from each class and see what company is really for winners. I mean, that would be really cool to kind of test. Like, you can go for Speedco, Rift, Torker, Supercross, DK, Redline. I mean, you'll find out pretty quick. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what happens in the vet pro class. You know, I think I'm going to go either with the captain or Upshaw. Winner takes all, I guess. Then the men's pro class, setting at number 5, Cameron Larson. Number 4, Simon Marcourt. Again, I can't really pronounce these names because. Number 3, Jumpin' Josh Jolly. I know you've seen him last year at Grange with Marshall Gerke doing backflips. Yeah, he's there in the podium spot. Next to him is in the number 2 spot, Isaac Kennedy. That's one of the favorites. And of course, you got in the number 1 spot that Cowboy, Cam Wood. So, man, that looks like a 3-way battle there between Wood, Kennedy, and Jolly. There's a lot of fan favorites right there. So, who knows? Could Cam Wood repeat what he did last year? Or could Isaac Kennedy take it? Or could Josh Jolly take it? It's hard to say. Yeah, of course, finally in the women's class, setting number 5 is Olivia Armstrong. Up there with her is Delaney Vaughn. In the podium spot, of course, Tulsa's Peyton Ridenauer, which she's in a good position. Laura Reynolds sitting at number 2 spot, and of course, Canada, Molly Simpson. So that's going to be interesting again in the women's class. Like, it's all heated up for the last national. I can't wait to see who wins the titles. Titles are on the line. And then, like I said, going back to Sand Springs, of course, you had the Intergalactic Side Hat Championship, which usually is at Grants. This year, they're pushing it to Sand Springs BMX. Tuesday, November 25th, at the pre-Grands, the annual, can't even pronounce that. Long night, long day. The pre-Grands race at Sand Springs. So, if you've never been to the pre-Grands race at Sand Springs, come on out. This will be my first one out of 10 years of going to Grands, so can't wait. For those that are bringing side hacks and wants to do side hack racing, practice starts at 12 and goes to 1 o'clock that afternoon. Race starts at 6, so there is a gap between the end of practice to race time. From 1 to 5, I want to say 1 to 5, practice goes on. Of course, there's practice over at Hardesty. I think that's like 5 to 8, 5 to 9, something like that. And another thing that I've said in the last couple shows, we're going to do some shows at Grands, or during Grands Week. One of our special guests is Beer Budget's Rick Carter. He's going to be coming on to our show either at Sand Springs or sometime during Grands Week. I can't wait to have Rick on here. He's a great guy, always giving us shout outs. So yeah, like, huge props to Sand Springs BMX for hosting the Side Hack Championships. of course, I've got to talk to PJ Baker, TO of Sand Springs, and man, he was telling me like one of the things that attract his son JJ to the pro championship was actually the side hacks. So that was pretty cool getting to hear that. And you know, why not bring it to Sand Springs, your own home track? And honestly, one of my favorite tracks to race side hacks on. Another really cool thing, like, I never thought of this, but Hack Shack, if you guys are tuning in, Rick Carter, if you guys are tuning in, this is something that you might want to think of. And of course, like, you always hear stories of like siblings of riders that have a disability, handicapped, and would like to ride around the track but really can't. I had a family of a rider came up to me. Of course, I pulled the side hack out. I was rolling it towards the starting hill, and they stopped me and asked me if this is a bike for a disability, handicapped person. I thought, no, it's a side hack. We race these things. Well, it turns out that of course, it took me a few seconds to kind of think of it, but I was thinking, well, if companies like Hack Shack or anyone else comes up and builds side hacks, I think it would be possible to do like a handicap side hack for those kids that wants to just ride. I think that would be really cool to do. And whenever she saw the side hack, I mean, she was actually in tears. So that was really cool. Of course, I pointed them in the direction of Hack Shack. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. You know, you don't get to inspire people that much, especially in today's world, but hey, what can you do? So, kind of went through my notes a little quick. No, it's late. But yeah, I had a fun time over in Tulsa. Always a great time. Always a great time. 11 more days till Grands, 9 days till the Side Hat Championship. So for the pro titles, who are you guys going for? I mean, you got a lot to pick from. I think we're going to kind of leave this into an open discussion, open show. So if you have anything cool that kind of pops up, just leave a comment. Of course, you have some clinics coming up at Sand Springs. Let's see the notes at Sand Springs. Of course, I didn't finish my notes. That's from last week. Okay, so I know I've already went over this a couple shows ago, but here's some of the Grands Week's events that are happening. Of course, starting Friday, November 21st. Local race at Sand Springs BMX. Sign up 6:30 to 7:30. Of course, Nick Long is having his sprints training at Sand Springs. 15 riders max. If you want to get in on that, it's $20. And then Saturday, November 22nd, the Donovan Long Clinic at Sand Springs BMX. Of course, there are going to be 3 different clinics at Sand Springs with Donovan Long. There will be 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. So if you want to get in on that, from 12 to 2 will be gates and first grades. 4 to 6 on Saturday will be adults only Grants Prep. On Sunday, it will be from 10 to 1 race and Grants Prep. So if you want to get in on it, that's $50 a day or $80 for both days. I say that's a good deal. $80 for both days, 3 clinics, and you can't beat that. Of course, Saturday night, you have your local race at Mays County. Sign up 6 to 7. Awesome track operators, great group of people. A lot of the people over in Oklahoma, awesome people to be around. And then, of course, after the clinic on Sunday at Sand Springs, you have your local race, Sunday race at Sand Springs. Sign-ups 2 to 3. Be there if that one's going to be a fun one. But, of course, you got a clinic in the morning at Sand Springs. You got a race at Sand Springs the afternoon. Then you have a second race. Go over to Hardesty for their local race. Sign-ups 5 to 6:30. Awesome track. Monday, November 24th. Of course, you have the Big Cheeseburger 21 and over clinic at Sand Springs BMX, 4 to 6. Of course, you have other clinics that Dick Cheeseburger is putting on, and that would be the novice, intermediate, and the expert. They just added the expert clinic, so get in on that. Awesome guy, Jason Morris. He's just an awesome rider. Got to meet him this past spring. Got to ride at the rail yard with him. That was a great experience just to get to watch him ride. Tuesday, November 25th. This is an action-packed, long day for clinics and racing. So here we go. Nick Long. We're going to start at Hardesty from 10:30 to 1:30. Nick Long Clinic, 35 rider limit. I believe I'm not really too sure how much that clinic is. Of course, I posted some clinics dates and prices down below a few posts ago, so you can check them out. The Connor Fields Experience, which if you haven't checked that out, check it out. I believe it's like, I know there's a limit to it, but it's like $250, but that goes through the entire Grands Week. Of course, you'll get coached by Connor. Taco Tuesday, a 2-hour clinic at Hardesty, and a breakdown of the Grands track. So that clinic will be going down. Open practice from 5 to 9 at Hardesty, and then you jump over to Sand Springs BMX, pre-Grands race. Sign-ups from 5 to 7. Well, actually no. That is 1 to 6. Yeah, 1 to 6, I think. I don't know why I had that on my old notes, but yeah, I mean, I don't have much tonight. Decided to just get on here, give a few shout outs to a few people. course, Grand's being around the corner. A lot of first-time riders going there. Of course, I released a video on how to survive rocking Grands. I can't wait to see old faces and new faces. Yeah. Yeah, it's here. 11 more days. So, but, anyways, I'm going to cut this show a little bit short. I know I go a little bit longer than this. Of course, it's late. It's Sunday night. Work in the morning. But we got one more full week until Grands is here. I don't know if we're going to be doing a show next week. But if we are, we'll probably end up doing it on either Thursday night show or Friday night show. And we may have some call-ins. We may have some stuff coming our way with Grands coming up. Of course, you have the drama at Grands. I will be coming out with the bingo card. So if you guys enjoyed the bingo cards last year, of course, somebody came up with the bingo card. I totally forgot who came out with it, but took the idea and kind of ran with it with, what was that, 30 spots on the bingo card. So, yeah, 6 by 6. You know? Yeah. Something like that. Anyways, the bingo card's pretty cool. So, anyways, if you guys don't have any other topics, of course I kind of ran out of them. Man, the pro titles are going to be stacked. But anyways, I'll see you guys possibly next week. If not, I will see you at Sand Springs BMX November 25th for our first Grands show at Grands. Hope to see you there.